Welcome back to another kind of half-assed video that I'm just recording at 8 o'clock at night. And, so yeah, I'm gonna just sit here, chill. I'm gonna be reacting to Mr. Nightmare, reacting to a few videos of his. And, we're just kind of gonna be chilling. And, I'll link the videos down below. And if you want, go watch them first. I
work at a CVS open 24 hours a day. I've been working at this location for 3 years now, and I'm one of the higher-ups. I agreed to take on the overnight shifts because I believe it helps my chances of getting another promotion, and I like to be on my boss's good side. There would only be one employee working the 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. shift, as that's all that's really needed.
Yeah.
Once the pharmacy opens at 9 a.m., that's when business usually picks up. The two employees before me left after I was set up. At my hours, so few customers come in that my job varies from cash register to simply stock working.
Bruh.
The beeper at the front door that would go off would alert me when a customer would enter, so I'd
Never work the night shift. He said night shift, right? Never work the night shift. I get a job, they say, hey, you want to work the night? Quit. I'm quitting the job next day. Like, no fucking night shifts, okay? I get fucking freaked out when I'm just sitting here in my house alone, alright? No fucking night shifts, especially if you alone. Maybe if you have some people with you, then it's alright. But if you alone, bro, nah.
know when to go back to the register and wait. A few hours into my shift, I went back to the register to check my phone, which I had charging, and I had a new voicemail from an unknown number. I pulled it up and listened. It was some weird voice on the other end that I couldn't tell belonged to a male or female, and I couldn't understand what they were saying. Like, the sound quality was terrible. The transcription was unavailable for that reason. Obviously, I just ignored it because everyone gets weird calls once in a while. As I continued doing stock work, my phone started to go off. I pulled out my phone and saw a bunch of texts from that number that just called. The first text said, "Call back when you can." The second one said, "I know you're at work, I'm coming to visit." The third one said, "What time are you working till?"
Hold up.
The first text said, "Call back when you can."
It's too loud.
The second one said, "I know you're at work, I'm coming to visit." The third one said, "What time are you working till?" I had no idea who this could be. I texted back,
Now I
"Who the
feel
hell
like it's
is
too
this?"
quiet.
The typing bubble popped up for like 20 seconds. Then it went away. They didn't respond to that. Okay. A little unnerving, yes, but I still had to go about my work. Eventually, I heard the ding by the front door, alerting me someone entered. So I went back to the register and waited. I didn't see anyone walking around though, and I waited there for quite a while actually. Eventually, I just decided, okay, that's enough waiting, and went back to stocking shelves. I'd say it was around 2 a.m., a couple hours into my shift. I got a new cart full of items from the back section, this time beauty products, the second aisle in the store. I brought the cart over there and noticed a woman in the corner of the next aisle over, the first aisle. I stepped into that aisle and looked down, asking if she needed any help. She was looking down at one of the products in the corner. She didn't acknowledge me. Didn't know if she heard me or not, but I just felt awkward, so I left her alone. I walked back to the register just to wait there for her to finish up, and then I started getting more texts from that number. I was basically getting spammed with random messages that made no sense, except one that said, "I'm here." So I said screw it and I called the number. I heard a ringing sound coming from inside the store.
Nah, nope. Get your gun, fire.
And my heart started beating twice as fast. I felt a heavy feeling in my throat. I canceled the call, and the ringing stopped. I brought myself to walk over to that last aisle again, where the ringing was coming from. That woman was still there in that corner. I yelled, "Joke's over, I'm calling the cops, whoever you are." I almost knew it had to be some girl I knew playing a prank on me. I went back around the counter because for some reason I felt safer there. I really didn't want to call the police though. Instead, I called my best friend, who picked up on the first try. I asked him to think of anyone we knew with brunette hair who had my number and would be playing a prank on me like this. He guessed a few names, but based on the body shape of that woman, it was none of them. My friend told me to just stop being a pussy since it was a girl. I told him, alright, whatever, and hung up the phone. I was about to suck it up and walk over there when I noticed her, peering half of her head from around the corner of the beauty aisle.
Nah.
She had to be kneeling down too, because the shelf in that aisle is lower.
You see that shit? That's disgusting. Oh my god. That is fucking disgusting, man. What the fuck? That is revolting. Looks like she's just, looks dead.
Lower than the rest. The first thing I noticed was blood trickling down her cheeks. She was smiling, and I heard her making these fucked up laughing sounds.
What the fuck?
It looked like she cut the skin on her cheeks right next to her lips, and this was when I realized she wasn't our age. She looked like she was anywhere from 30 to 40. I took one step closer, and I recognized her. It was this lady with serious mental issues who had DM'd me with a fake account before, and as far as I knew, she was dangerous and was supposed to be in some psychiatric center. She must have gotten my number through my Instagram, which I have set as a public figure profile, which includes my phone number. Seeing half her bloodied face peering at me, smiling, made me want to yak. I yelled at her to get away or I'd stab her. Of course, a complete bluff.
The fuck?
I ran to one of the back aisles and hid from her, and I only sighed a breath of relief when I heard the beep of the front door go off.
Why don't you get out of that
I
store?
went to go check if she was still there, but she wasn't. And so I called 911 and had the police take a report, showed them the CCTV footage, and warned them of her name and that she had serious mental issues. The officers were very nice and told me they'd be in the immediate area in case she returned. I blocked the number she was texting me from, and I like to think the police contacted her family.
Story 2. Let's get it.
I used to work the dairy aisle in a grocery store. It was the worst job I ever had. A lot of heavy lifting, expired dairy products, and shivering. The big dairy cooler was in the back of the store in the area where all the groceries yet to be stocked on the shelves were kept. I would often just chill in the dairy cooler, no pun intended, because the supervisors on duty would never think to check on me in there. I'd bring a hoodie.
What's that like purple shit? Like in between all the milk, you see that? That like purple red shit, there's like blue shit at the top in jugs. Something that looks like piss as well. What is that? It kind of looks good. other than the piss, the other stuff kind of looks good. I want to try it. But what the I don't even know what that is.
Just so I wouldn't get cold. Anyway, one night I was working till 10 p.m. The store got quiet past 9. However, Mr. Senko, the supervisor who was a pain in the ass, was on duty. So after stocking the milk cartons one more time for the night, I brought everything to the back area again. On my way back to the dairy cooler to just hide and chill in there, I saw very briefly, for like half a second, the face of someone through the glass of the cooler door.
Nope.
But they either just ducked down or faded away out of my view.
What?
Who was in there? I went
Got
through
like
the doors
8
to
render
see.
distance
I
on?
got hit with that blast of cold air and the loud sound of the giant refrigerator blowing cold air into the room. Boxes, pallets, and crates of milk everywhere, but no immediate sight of anyone. There were many places to hide behind the giant piles of boxes, but no one was in there. So I did my usual. I sat on an empty milk crate hidden behind a big pile of boxes. Then suddenly the lights in the cooler turned off.
Oh
It went
my
almost
god,
pitch
get
dark,
out of there.
Besides the light from outside the cooler coming
Get
into
out
the
of there.
glass of the door. I had a mini freak out because I thought Mr. Senko knew I was in here and was basically signaling for me to come out. I stood up and came out from around the boxes, and then I froze. Something was blocking partial view of the 2 cooler doors. There was a silhouette of a really tall person right in front of me. It couldn't be Mr. Senko, he was kind of short. The figure right in front of me had to be a foot taller than me. Suddenly, the light flickered back on, and the figure I thought I saw right in front of me was no longer there. I nervously walked around where I thought I saw something standing. I even waved my hand through the air in that spot. I somehow felt like I wasn't alone in there, and so I burst through the doors and shut the dairy cooler light. I peeked inside now with the light off, but that figure I saw in there just a moment ago was still gone. I threw my apron off and clocked out early. I didn't care if Mr. Senko would be mad. I just needed to get out of there. That was the one paranormal thing to ever happen in my life.
Get out of here with these like scams. I'm gonna actually I'm gonna actually pay attention to this one. I'm just playing iMessage games
night
the whole
stop
time.
shifts for various local Lowe's home improvement stores. All I do is work whichever specific location needs me for the night, usually dependent on which location is having the most business.
Yeah.
My job is to unload trucks, operate forklifts in the back section and throughout the store, and do night stock work. The trucker on duty that night was Paul, the only other guy with me that night. Once we successfully unloaded the truck, he helped me sort them in the back room before going off to do another pickup with the truck. So I was left alone to continue work as normal, nothing I wasn't used to. I'd scan the new shipments to take inventory, then I'd bring the items out to the floor and stock shelves with the new items. That's exactly what I was doing, going back and forth from the back warehouse section to the main floor, stocking shelves, sometimes using the forklift. I was scanning items with the inventory gun towards the back section of the warehouse when a loud crash scared the living shit out of me, to the point that I jumped and turned around midair.
I'd have a heart attack. I'd have a heart attack right then and there. Right then and there, I'd be on the ground, fucking heart attacking.
It was a big box that had fallen off a large pile of pallets full of unopened packages. The box's contents didn't spill out. The box was still intact. So I went to get the forklift to lift the packages back up onto the pallet.
Right.
It was at this point I smelt a funky odor. But it wasn't the most uncommon thing ever in the warehouse. So I continued my work. At some point later that night, I turned the corner into the paint aisle and saw someone walking all the way down at the other side.
The fuck?
They were dressed in dark clothes.
Nah.
No one else was supposed to be in the store, and they weren't wearing work clothes.
Nah.
So I shouted, "Hey." They turned around.
Call the
When
cops.
They took off running down an intersecting aisle.
Call the cops.
Naturally, I yelled again and started chasing after him. Of course, when I got to the intersecting aisle, he was nowhere to be seen. He could have been in any aisle by then. Still, I did one quick jog down the middle aisle to look through all the intersecting aisles, but I didn't see anyone. I called anyone who I thought could have possibly been on duty, but nobody even picked up. I was at a loss for who that could be. I had to assume it was an intruder. I returned to the warehouse, and as I walked through the doors, I heard another crash from the back section of the warehouse. I ran in that direction and discovered something had fallen from the same pile of pallets and boxes. That was it. I had to run and grab a ladder to go climb up the stack of boxes. When I got to the top, I realized there was a perimeter, or wall rather, of packages and boxes surrounding one big hole. In this hole, there was a homeless-looking man dressed in all black. The same man I had just seen. This was where the odor from earlier was coming from. He looked at me, and I looked back at him, speechless. I didn't know what to say. He got up and seemed as though he were coming to lunge at me.
Bruh.
I quickly stepped down the ladder low enough to where I could jump off. Then I ran down the aisle of the warehouse and stopped. I got on the phone with the police, and a couple officers showed up 15 minutes later. Of course, the little secret home
50 or 15? Fuck.
that man had made between boxes was empty now. He evacuated with all this stuff. Camera footage later revealed that man had been staying in that little secret spot he created for a whole week. No one really checks the camera footage unless there's a reason to. That's how he got away with it unnoticed for so long.
Bruh. Alright.